The following is an It Was a Thing on TV special presentation. Well, guys, it's 1 year after we did the first part, but we're finally doing the second part of the TV Guide's 50 worst TV shows of all time. And now we're going to re-rank everything that we put in our list in part one and make what we think is like the definitive list of the 50 worst of all time. So why don't I go through the top 50 originally from the 2001 list? So, okay. 50, we had Barney and Friends. 49, we had The Ropers. 48, we had Bless This House. Rango at 47, Me and the Chimp at 46, aka Pablo at 45, She's the Sheriff at 44, Whips at 43, Flying Nun at 42, Tom Green Show 41, Making It at 40, New Leave It to Beaver 39, Helltown at 38, SNL with Howard Cosell at 37, The Misadventures of Sheriff Lobo, who I miss. I miss Sheriff Lobo at 36, Pink Lady and Jeff at 35, Alexander the Great, the TV movie at 34, Holmes and Yo-Yo at 33, Co-Ed Fever at 32, Homeboys in Outer Space at 31, Unhappily Ever After at 30, the Howard Stern CBS show, I think, at 29, or E or whatever, Super Trade 28, Turn On at 27, Life with Lucy at 26, Who Wants to Marry a Multimillionaire at 25, One of the Boys at 24, Sammy and Company at 23, The Powers of Matthew Starr at 22, Baywatch at 21, The Phyllis Diller Show from 1966 at 20, The PTL Club at 19, The Ugliest Girl in Town at 18, Casablanca, the TV series at 17, The Chevy Chase Show at 16, Wow! Venable at 15, Baby Bob at 14, 21 at 13, Hello Larry at 12, Secret Diary of Desmond Pfeiffer at 11, The Hee Haw-Honeys at 10, You're in the Picture at 9, Cop Rock at 8, After MASH at 7, Celebrity Boxing at 6, Hogan's Heroes at 5, Brady Bunch Variety Hour at 4, XFL 2001 at 3, My Member the Court 2, and The Jerry Springer Show at 1. So yeah, that is the original 50 from 2001. And we said in the first part that there were some things that we're not going to put in the list for various reasons over the last 23, 24 years since this list were put out. Obviously, because this list was done when it was originally made, it was mostly recency bias. The fact that some shows really in 2025, when you look back, is that really one of the top 50 worst shows ever? And shows that probably weren't seen since their original airing and that we've now seen since, like, say, The Ropers, that this show really is not the 50 worst shows ever. So I believe if I can look at the list we have here, some of the shows we've added to it. Part one were Caveman, Blind Justice, Whitney, Emerald, Work It, Animal Practice, Delta House. I believe, Chico, you suggested Maya and Morty.
I don't remember doing it, but I see where I could and I see where it should.
Yeah. Viva Laughlin, obviously. Let's see what else we put. Oh, New Monkeys, of course. Women in Prison. The Swan. Second Chance 1987, Boys Will Be Boys. Turnabout. And I believe, Mike, you said the 50th should be like a viewer request or have the audience suggest it.
Yeah.
And one said The Magic Hour. And I thought, okay, that's perfect for the 50th show. That will be on this list. So we put that there. Okay, so we have all of our re-rankings. So, Mike, how did your list go of your new list? So
I'll start from the bottom and work my way up. I put 4 shows at the bottom because I didn't know all that much about them. Rango, Casablanca, Bless This House, Phyllis Diller Show. In no particular order, I put from 47 to 50. Then 46th, I have One of the Boys. 45th, I have Second Chance Boys Will Be Boys. Then 44th, The Magic Hour. Maya and Marty at 43. 42, She's the Sheriff. 41, Life with Lucy. At 40, Homeboys in Outer Space. 39, Turn On. 38, Cop Rock. 37, Aftermath. 36, Still the Beaver. 35, Animal Practice. 34, Whoops. 33, AKA Pablo. 32, Women in Prison. 31, The New Monkeys. 30, I have Helltown. 29, Turnabout. 28, Viva Laughlin. 27, and I think this is a little low for it, but this is the place I put it, The Powers of Matthew Starr. And then really at 26, 25, and 24, again, I sort of have a grouping there where you could put 24 at 25 or 26, and 26 could go at 25 or 24, et cetera, et cetera. I put all the college shows from 79 in there. I put Delta House, Brothers and Sisters, Coed Fever at 24 to 26. 23, Making It. 22, Who Wants to Marry a Multimillionaire. 21, The Swan, sort of a Fox early 2000s reality show block there. Not good reality shows. 20, I have Manimal. 19, Saturday Night Live with Howard Cosell. 18, Supertrain. 17, Whitney. 16, Emerald. 15, Baby Bob. 14, The Chevy Chase Show. 13, You're in the Picture. 12, Holmes and Yo-Yo. 11, Me and the Chimp. 10, Secret Diary of Desmond Pfeiffer. 9, Pink Lady and Jeff. 8, Blind Justice. 7, Hee Haw Honeys. 6, The Brady Bunch Hour. 5, Work It. 4, My Mother the Car. 3, Cavemen. 2, Celebrity Boxing. And I did keep Jerry Springer as the worst show on TV ever. Not because it's necessarily a bad show, even though it is. And it really wasn't a bad show to begin with. But unfortunately, a certain producer decided to tinker with the format around like 92, 93 and turn it from like a respectable, decent talk show, sort of a thought-provoking talk show, into the sideshow that I'm not going to say we know and love, but the sideshow that at least we know. Plus, also, I kept it at number one because I'm sorry, I see parallels between culture's sort of downfall and the Jerry Springer Show rising in popularity. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't get into those certain types of demographics and whatnot, societal downfall, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, behaviors going to hell in a handbasket. But also at the same time, without Jerry Springer, you don't have Karamo, which I think is absolutely horrible. I cannot watch that show. Not that I really want to watch that show. Yes, you have Steve Wilkos, but he's not as bad as Jerry. He's sort of trying to do good, trying to expose assholes in the world. As long as they're not actors, they're acting like assholes. But yeah, Jerry Springer, I think for just how it's sort of changed society for the worst, it's got to stay at number one.
Okay, Chico, do you have your 50?
As a matter of fact, I do. I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up. I did the same thing as Mike. I put Rango at 50 simply because I don't know what it is and I wouldn't know what it was about. And you could show it to me, I wouldn't know what it is. 49 is Still the Beaver. I thought it was cute. I'm sorry, I did. 48, One of the Boys. 47, Me and the Chimp. 46, Maya and Marty. 45, Helltown. 44, aka Pablo. 43, New Monkeys. 42, Second Chance, Boys Will Be Boys. 41, Bless This House. 40, The Phyllis Diller Show. 39, Viva Laughlin. Sorry, I love musicals. What can I say? 38, Animal Practice. 37, She's the Sheriff. 36, Whoops. 35, SNL with Howard Cosell. 34, Women in Prison. 33, Homeboys in Outer Space. 32, Turn On. 31, Delta House. 30, Manimal. 29, Making It. 28, Holmes and Yo-Yo. 27, Hee Haw Honeys. 26, Aftermash. 25, Celebrity Boxing. 24, Blind Justice. 23, The Powers of Matthew Starr. 22, Brothers and Sisters. 21, The Magic Hour. 20, Baby Bob. 19, Life with Lucy. 18, Cop Rock. 17, Caveman. 16, My Mother the Car. 15, Emerald. 14, Pink Lady and Jeff. 13, Coed Fever. 12, Whitney. 11, The Brady Bunch Hour. 10, Casablanca, the series. 9, The Chevy Chase Show. 8, You're in the Picture. 7, Turnabout. 6, The Secret Diary of Desmond Pfeiffer. 5, Work It. 4, Who Wants to Marry a Multimillionaire. 3, The Swan. 2, Super Train. And 1, The Jerry Springer Show.
All right, so let me go through 50 through 1 for me. 50, I have Maya and Marty. 49, I have Rango. 48, Homeboys in Outer Space. One of the Boys at 47, Helltown at 46. Now, you're going to be shocked by this. I put Jerry Springer at 45.
I can see why you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. 44, I have Hee Haw Honeys. 43, Bless This House. 42, Whoops. 41, AKA Pablo. 40, Second Chance Boys Will Be Boys. 39, Women in Prison. 38, Magic Hour. 37, Delta House. 36, Life with Lucy. 35, Celebrity Boxing. The Swan at 34. The Powers of Matthew Starr at 33. The Phyllis Diller Show at 32. Me and the Chimp at 31. Still the Beaver at 30. Holmes and Yo-Yo at 29. Making it at 28. Blind Justice at 27. Brothers and Sisters at 26. Animal Practice at 25. Row! Manimal at 24. Cop Rock at 23. Aftermash at 22. Casablanca 21. Turnabout 20. Seize the Sheriff at 19. Caveman at 18. SNL with Howard Cosell at 17. The Secret Diary of Desmond Pfeiffer at 16. Who Wants to Marry a Multimillionaire at 15. The Brady Bunch Hour at 14. Work It at 13. Emerald at 12. Baby Bob at 11. So, okay, here's my top 10. Number 10, Coed Fever. Number 9, Pink Lady and Jeff. Number 8, New Monkeys. Number 7, Turn On. Number 6, Super Train. Number 5, My Mother the Car. Number 4, The Chevy Chase Show. Number 3, Viva Laughlin. Number 2, and Mike, I don't know if you're going to be shocked that this is my number 2 or not, Whitney.
I'm legitimately not surprised. I know how much you absolutely despise Whitney Cummings. I remember when that show was on the air, even though it was like 7 years before we even started the podcast, you were just like, this is an absolute piece of shit. How is this on TV? How does this even like last more than a season? Greg absolutely hated the show.
It also didn't help that at the time NBC gave her what is referred to in pro wrestling as the Jesus push, where every second commercial break she was on the commercials, and they were all fucking horrible. I don't think anyone liked those commercials at all. Not a single human being on social media in 2012 liked those commercials. But there is one show that I think is worse than that. You're in the Picture.
I am actually shocked that you put Whitney at 2.
Yeah, that's what I thought Mike would be shocked at. He would be like, there's a show you think is worse than Whitney?
Now, you see, I was trying to keep track when you were going through your list to see what shows were left that could take that number 1 spot. And I thought for some reason you didn't mention Emerald. And I'm like, he didn't say that Emerald's the worst show of all time. Yeah, Emerald was bad, but worst show of all time? I can't see that. But I can totally see why you'd say You're in the Picture.
The fact that it only aired once, and the fact that Jackie Gleason had to apologize for how bad it was, that has to make it number 1 alone.
I think that's a fair decision. I'm not going to disagree with it.
Also, number 3, Viva Laughlin I had. I mean, let's be quite honest. I know, Chico, you love singing and everything, but I don't think anybody wanted this back then.
I will admit I was disappointed, but yeah.
And then the Chevy Chase show I had, just because Fox really tried to make Chevy Chase a big player in the late night. And it was in a crowded field in 93 with Dave going to CBS and Mr. Black on NBC, and you still had Arsenio and syndication. But it was like, there was no way for Chevy to even compete. And it was just, the show was also so bad, I remember. And then Mime Over the Core, obviously, number five, because come on.
Are there any sort of surprises on any of our lists compared to what you guys had? Is there anything where, let's say, I had it at 50 or 45, and you had it at, let's say, 10 or 8? Is there any show that has like a huge disparity where it's like, why did you vote that so low, or why did you vote that so high when I had it in the opposite position?
Well, where did you put the Swan?
The Swan I had at 21.
Okay. And Greg?
I'm looking. Oh, I had it 34.
I'm surprised Greg had it as low as he did, because that show, in retrospect, was absolutely good for absolutely nobody.
Well, that's why I said when I described my list, I had the Swan and Who Wants to Marry a Multimillionaire at 21 and 22, because really those are like the two absolute worst reality shows, maybe of all time. I was going to say on Fox in the early 2000s, but really, I think you have to come up with a really good case to not have those two among the two worst reality shows ever. But also, like Chico said, that aged like cheese. The Swan in 2000, whatever, 2002, 3, 4, whatever. Yeah, maybe you don't get away with it with too many problems. But 2025 does not age very well at all. But also, I think Greg, he had New Monkeys in the top 10. That I thought was surprising. I had it at 31 on my list.
I mean, I remember when we covered New Monkeys on the podcast, I just remember it being so bad. It was just.
It was bad, but obviously I found 30 shows that were worse than it. I mean, the other one that I think I'm a little surprised by, maybe it's surprising that I ranked it so low. I know Greg had it on the higher end, and I think Chico did as well, was Turn On. I had it at 39th. Part of that, I see what they're trying to do is kind of experimental in some ways. Yes, it was like Laugh-In, and actually, it came from George Slatter, who is the guy behind Laugh-In. I see what they're trying to do, but it was just awkward. It was unconventional. The humor was really out there. And I say that from the standpoint of saying Laugh-In's humor, especially 50, 55, almost 60 years later, might be out there to this generation. I thought Turn On had a interesting premise, but it was just a little too outrageous, a little too scandalous for 1969.
I thought that it was basically looking at Turn On like the 1969 version of what would later become TikTok.
Yeah, Turn On was a little ahead of its time, which is why I had it sort of like in the middle of the pack, because you could put it on TV right now, it would get an audience. It would be an avant-garde audience. It would be the Tim and Eric Awesome Show Great Job audience, but it would be an audience.
I think also it might work nowadays, and I'm saying this the nicest way I can. It's a good show for an ADHD audience. People who've got that short attention span. There was a reason why Vine was popular, at least until it closed up shop. It's a 6 second video. You don't need to put forth a lot of brain power and memory because it's 6 seconds long. Trust me, as a person with ADHD, I totally understand why that might be popular nowadays. I totally understand why shorts on YouTube or TikTok or the reels on Instagram for 10 seconds or whatever, why they're so popular.
Now, were you shocked that they had the secret diary of Desmond Pfeiffer at 16?
I thought it
I
could
had
have been a whole lot higher.
I had it at 10, so I'm not terribly surprised.
I had it at 6. You want to talk about shows that don't age well at all? That is a show that does not age well at all.
Well, if they had an episode about one of the wings of the White House being destroyed, I bet it would age very well in 2025. But that's another story.
A question for you guys, if you guys can easily access it. What is the lowest show from the original list that's in your top 10? And what is the highest show that ended up either in the bottom 10, 41 to 50, or you could even go, let's say, 30 to 50 or 35 to 50? I'll give you mine. Pink Lady and Jeff, I had at 9, and the original list had it at 35. That's another show that just aged horribly. But on the other end, I have Aftermath at 37 and Cop Rock at 38. I don't think Aftermath was that bad. I think just in comparison to the original series, it's bad. And you're always going to be held up to that higher standard. The original show, MASH, one of the biggest shows of all time, 11 seasons, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then Aftermath, wasn't good. But Cop Rock, I put it low from 8 down to 38 because I get what they were trying to do. It was sort of experimental TV. They did something different. It wasn't something that was good. Or maybe if it was done in a different era, maybe it might be taken a little bit better. Maybe a little more contemporary crowd, let's say 2010s, 2015, they might be a little more accepting of it. I think Steven Bochco was maybe taking too big of a chance. But I didn't think it was all that bad. It was just different. It was creative. If you like song and dance, it was definitely an interesting show. But I think it gets a bad rap just because it's like the notoriously bad show from 1990.
Okay, so from the original list that made my top 10, at 49 was Turnabout. They had it at 49. I had it at 7. I mean, it just, you want to talk about turning norms on their heads? It turns norms on its heads in the worst way possible. It's like, who the hell thought of this? I mean, I know it's based like on a book or something. They made it into a movie. Next thing you know, it's like, oh my God, really? You're going to try and stretch this out to an entire season? First of all, what are you on? And second of all, why aren't you sharing? And the highest one in my bottom is One of the Boys. They had it at 24. I had it at 48 simply because, honestly, I don't know what it's about.
Yeah, I had the Jerry Springer Show, obviously, which is one on the original list, down to 45. But She's the Sheriff, which was 44, I had it at 19. And that's mainly off its reputation. Actually, hold on, let me just check. Casablanca, which was 17 on the original list, they had it 21. I'm kind of surprised I had it that much lower from the original list. But the Chevy Chase Show went from 16 on the original list all the way up to 4 for me. And actually, I'm surprised Baby Bob was like, I had similar rankings to TV Guide because they had it 14, I had it at 11. And let me see, Life with Lucy, they had 26, I had it 36. Mainly because, I mean, yeah, it's not a good show. It's Lucy doing a sitcom near the end of her life where she really couldn't do as much physical comedy as she used to in her days on I Love Lucy and the Lucy Show. But it's like, this is bad, but it's not top 30 bad. And I'm actually surprised they had the college shows far apart because I had let's see, Delta House was 37. I had Brothers and Sisters at 26, and I had Coed Fever at 10. But Coed Fever, I had the top 10 like turn on, and you're in the picture in it because if you only air it once, that kind of says like it had to be so bad even the network said, "Nah, we can't do this anymore." So that's basically it. Do we have any final thoughts about the lists that we made and everything?
Well, the beauty of this list is that it's ever changing, and give 5 or 10 years, somebody's going to come up with another list of the 50 worst shows in television history. You're going to see outside of network, you're going to see more syndication, more cable, hell, even a streaming offer or two.
I agree that this is kind of sort of a living document. It can be changed at any time by anybody. But I think the one big thing which really affected us is that of the 50 shows that were listed, we've covered probably at least 40 of them. We didn't do She's the Sheriff. We're not going to do She's the Sheriff. Maya and Marty, personally, I didn't think it was that bad. It was maybe just a little out of its element, given when it aired and whatnot. But again, Rango, who the hell knows what that is? Casablanca, I've heard of, but never seen it. Bless This House, never seen it, never heard of it. Phyllis Diller, same. So, once these shows actually appear, and gosh knows, shows are showing up all the time. Shows that people thought are long gone, suddenly, oh, here's an episode of this. Here's an episode of that. So this is forever changing. Maybe not on a constant basis, maybe not on a monthly basis or an annual basis, but this is a list that we can go back to in 10 years and say, hey, Me and the Chimp wasn't as bad as we thought it was compared to show X. And gosh knows, I'm sure we could pick some shows from the last 5 years that weren't as bad as Me and the Chimp. There's even shows from 10 years ago that I'm sure we could put on this list of 50 worst shows of all time that make Me and the Chimp look like Sesame Street. But it's a very interesting sort of science that we did here. It's an interesting little experiment in, I think, not just how we perceive TV shows, but also why we perceive the TV shows, why we put them at the different places on this list. With the podcast ending probably in about 2 years at this point, I think we're going to make it to mid to late 2027. Maybe we need to revisit this list just as a sort of surprise. Hey, we did our 700, 750 shows, whatever we're going to end up at. But then just out of the blue, in 2029, we come up with the 50 worst TV shows of the 21st century. Just an idea somewhere down the road. Something to give our listeners and have them say, oh my gosh, this podcast isn't dead. They came back from the dead and did work for a single day or a single episode or a single taping session. But it was good to actually revisit this finally. Put some closure on the topic.
Yep. So, thanks for listening to this episode of It Was a Thing on TV Presents. And we'll see you with more stuff coming up. It Was a Thing on TV Podcast Network coming right down the line. Row!
That's my husband, Sam.
My wife, Penny.
And this is Turnabout.
A little magic made Penny and Sam switch bodies.
I am in your body and you're in mine.
And sometimes things get too hot to handle. Watch Turnabout Fridays on the new NBC.
Bang!